Hey everybody, and welcome back to Chart Request Live. Happy Thursday to you. My name's Patrick Dunawilla. I am the editor of the Chart Report. Joining me today, we got Sam Gatlin, fresh from the Cadillac auction. How was it this morning?
It was fantastic. I ate way too much food, but I'm ready to dig into the charts. There's a lot to unpack from
So wait,
yesterday.
wait, wait. Before we dig in the charts, so your long cattle futures, what were you doing at a cattle auction this morning?
I was getting a little sentiment check, see what these
Okay.
ranchers are thinking about the markets.
What did you pick up any intel there?
Well, I think there's a lot of sellers. I think they're skeptical of the rally at this
I
point.
like it. I like it. It did break out, didn't it, recently?
Live cattle closed at the highest price in history last week. It's done a little bit of backing and filling this week, but I think those are about to start a fresh leg higher. I can pull up the chart here.
Well, what are you watching in terms of the broader market here? Because we've taken some serious damage in the last day or two and started real slowly, and then all of a sudden, right? Um, what do you make of all of it? What are you watching?
Yeah, I think front and center for a lot of people is Nvidia. This
Totally.
this company is incredibly important to the market. It's currently $3.2 trillion of market cap. So this is going to have a major influence on the direction of the major benchmarks. And it's just information about sentiment too. This has been a poster child of this bull market, and if it needs more of a corrective wave, then that would be telling for a lot of other areas in the market. Um,
Yeah, and Sam, to your point about it being very important to the major averages, this thing was added to the Dow, what, 2, 3 weeks ago? So more
aren't they
important
good
than
with
ever.
their timing?
And here we are about to add MicroStrategy to the good old S&P, right? Um, anyway, in terms of the broader market averages, what are you watching? You watching the Russell? You watching Nasdaq?
I think you got to watch them all. Like the
Gotta watch
Russell
them all.
was the biggest mover after the election.
Gave
Um,
it all back.
so this gap here was like 6% the day after the election. And that has been completely erased. We are now back below the pre-election level on the Russell 2000. That's not bullish at all.
And the Dow. The Dow has the same issues, right?
Right, for sure. This is not what I wanted. So this is the Dow. This is the election gap. We haven't completely lost it, but boy, is it not looking good.
I honestly thought we had filled it, but wow, it looks looking like it didn't fill it
Right.
yet.
And I'm no breadth expert, but Grant Hawkridge has really been pounding the table on breadth not looking good here, not supporting the current uptrend. So it doesn't necessarily mean this bull market's over, but I think we need to reevaluate our positions at this point.
Yeah. Oh, and Grant's been doing some great coverage on the breadth too. In the Daily Number, I've been reading it every single day.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really good stuff. Your life has gone horribly wrong if you're not subscribed to that. So go check him out on
yes.
the Twitter.
So let's dive right into the mailbag. First up, we got AGX. This one's from Dan. Resolved a big base and now coiling.
So we're looking at a roughly $2 billion engineering and construction stock here. And it looks like they do a lot of different things. A good looking chart here. You have on the daily time frame, a pretty nice uptrend since August 5th. You've rallied about 150%. Now you're in some type of consolidation phase here. I wouldn't call it a continuation pattern, but more of a consolidation. On the longer time frames, let's see if we can find any levels. And wow, it looks like we are running into a shelf of former highs from 1991. Not just a dot-com bubble base. This is a 1990 base. So first and foremost, as long as we're above this 130 level, I think the first target is 210. Now, in the short term, I think it's gonna be messy here. You see these massive bases often take some time to resolve completely and hit that first Fibonacci extension level. Like you were before the show, we were talking about Micron. That's kind of what this reminds me of. Beautiful, massive base, but maybe it needs to dance around this prior cycle high for longer.
Yeah,
That's what my
those
head's at.
long-term bases, they can take a while to get going.
For
Um,
sure.
they can produce some incredible uptrends, but it can be really, really slow start.
Definitely. And I would not fade this. I think it gets the job done. There's some serious momentum behind this one. So from the bear market low in October 2022, it's rallied about 400%, I believe. Yeah, just over 400%. So for an engineering and construction stock, that is pretty damn good.
Right, right. Seen a lot of those, right? Those kind of unknown names just making
Right.
these incredible moves this year. Let's move on to Palo Alto Networks, PANW.
So I already
So,
have this one fibbed out. I don't know if I like these fibs though. Let's do it again. So this is one of the leaders in cybersecurity. Would you say this is the leader of cybersecurity?
I would say it's definitely a leader. Yeah, I'm not sure if it is the leader, but yeah.
Definitely a good one. Probably in a secular uptrend, I would argue. I think cybersecurity is a secular trend. I mean, who is going to spend less money on cybersecurity? I think there's very few people in that position. I think everybody needs to spend more on it, and these people stand to benefit from it. And you have a clean level here at 190, let's call it. It was resistance in February, resistance in August, resistance in October. Now we've flipped it into support here in late November, and now we're back at the scene of the crime in December. I think the bulls will step up here and keep this level as support. But if they don't, that's information too. So I think you can be long above 190, and let's just fib out this base. So this would be about a 1 to 3 month time frame. I think it gets to 230. So 190 to 230, it's about 20%.
Yeah, this one's a really clean
Okay.
one.
Yeah, I like
Very
it.
clean. Let's move on to MicroStrategy, MSTR. Looking for support and resistance levels. And it's at a pretty important fib if you fib out the last cycle there.
Yeah,
actually,
and it's also this 333 is the level it peaked at in the dot-com bubble.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So the
that's what I
market
meant.
has been acknowledging that recently,
Yeah,
which is pretty bizarre. It was not a Bitcoin treasury company back in the dot-com bubble, but the market has memory. It remembers that price, and sure enough,
but
here
actually,
we
you know
are.
what, Sam, I am looking at the fibs from the last cycle, not the dot-com bubble high. But if you just pull those up for a second, it's pretty interesting.
So you're talking about this peak in
The
2021?
2020, yeah, 2021 to
Wow, okay. That's pretty interesting. So
pretty clean if you flip it into like a daily.
yeah, this is what you're talking about. Wow. So
Yeah, I mean, hit that one. I think it's the 423 extension, and then just here we are at that one. So there's your levels.
yeah, definitely. Above 326, I think you want to give the benefit of the doubt to the bulls, but below there, I think it's heading back towards this area. Who knows if it gets all the way back to 200, but I think at the very least it wants to fill this gap from November 11th.
Yeah, and that was a pretty gnarly reversal too. And Sam, what really got me on that reversal at 500 there was you got a psychological number, right? 500. Also, you fib out the base from the dot-com bubble. That was also a really important fib there. I think it was the 161.8. So you had two
You're right.
really important fibs there. But hey, if it does come back and retrace down to that, the top of that base there, I think it would be a better buy there than, trying to buy into this reversal here.
Definitely. How I learned it is you want to buy strength after the dip. You don't want to try to catch the dip. That's a
Right,
fool's errand.
right.
Let
And
the
it could totally
institutions
stick
with
it
all the
here.
money do the heavy lifting.
Right, right. It could totally stick it here, but I think your risk reward would probably be better off waiting for the bigger decline if you get it. You might not. But like you mentioned, that gap fill down there too looks awfully lonely, right? It
Right.
makes sense after that kind of blow off move that you saw there.
For sure. Yeah, that was blow off ish.
Oh, yeah,
Like you
blow
don't
off.
see that in normal uptrends. Like
And it
that's
was an incredible move going into it. So, um,
right. And you had a shooting star the day before. And that was the follow through was like what was this peak to trough? 30% down candlestick. That's your
right,
reaction to that.
yeah.
I mean, that just screams top consolidation.
Right, right.
It's
And
not
wanting
going
on
up
top at
anymore.
least. It might, even if it's not the top, probably going to take at least a few months to repair it. Maybe, you don't just go straight back to those November highs.
Right.
But what are the levels there? It's
This is about let's call it 300 to 270. So that's a pretty large gap, but I think that
yeah,
anywhere in there, buyers should show up in the short term at least, and provide some type of bounce. Probably pull it back up to this 340 level, keep consolidating. I think this one needs at least another month before it
yeah. And
can
what's
have any
interesting about
constructive.
this trade too is just the Bitcoin aspect of it too. It's almost like trading a commodity stock, right? It's like trading like Newmont or something like that, where you have the underlying commodity that you have to worry about too, and that's going to influence the trade as well.
For sure, Patrick. If Bitcoin is not going up, MicroStrategy has absolutely no reason to go up. So I
Right.
think this is first and foremost.
Right, right. It's like I said, to use that Newmont analogy, wouldn't you agree that with Newmont you kind of got to start with like the gold chart first, and then maybe I should use a better example, a less diversified miner, but
Yeah, that was a bad
um,
example, but I
right,
see what you're
right. But let's
saying.
say IAG or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh, you usually start with the gold chart first, so
So CRK. Let's talk about CRK. This is about as pure play as it gets in natural gas. You have, and then you want to look at natural gas like it's a very similar chart.
there you go.
So
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you gotta kind of be aware of the underlying commodity too. And in this case, it's Bitcoin for MicroStrategy.
It's funny calling Bitcoin a commodity.
But I mean, for MicroStrategy, they treat it like one, right? So it's
It's
it's kind
true.
of like,
That
anyway,
takes some getting used to for me, I guess.
absolutely. Listen, we can stick to calling it a currency.
I like
But,
that more.
let's move on here. We got Lidos, LDOS.
Yeah, I think it's Lidos. Looking kind of like MicroStrategy. Like you have that potential reversal candle, and then it's followed through by some nasty downside candles. You get a consolidation, more downside. This looks like the beginning of some type of downtrend. I'm not sure how long it'll last, but I think this one.
Well, to your point about looking like MicroStrategy, fib out the 2020 decline.
Let's do it. So, something like this.
Yeah, my levels look a little different. Maybe I'm looking at daily. Yeah, I was looking at a daily, or I was drawing the fibs from the daily on the 2020 decline.
So, let's do something more like this.
Yeah,
All right, so 140. Market acknowledged it here, and this was June, and then again in August on that August 5th puke. So this has been tried and true support. The bulls must show up here again, otherwise this one is in trouble and likely heading towards 113.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking to get
The old
short this
range,
one, you want to see a decisive close below this level with a target of that shelf of former highs we were just talking about. This one is setting up to be a pretty tremendous short, in my opinion.
How's it look relative?
Relative to,
So what is
let's
it?
try the
Industrial?
S&P. So this is Leidos relative to the S&P. Big mess, no alpha here.
That's a no for you?
That's a no for me. I like to buy things that are generating alpha. This one is creating negative alpha, and yeah, really nasty. I'm not sure what's going on here, but seems like there was some kind of news and happened days after the earnings. I'm curious what's going on here.
Also,
There's a note in the
incredible
YouTube
link.
chat if you're watching.
Yeah, absolutely. No, nothing in there yet, but
Let's see if it
want to
comes.
move on to
Let's move on.
XPO.
Ooh,
Time frame. This one's from Hanson.
Hanson. This is an amazing industrial trucker. I think that, yeah, they're classified as trucking.
They're
so
like logistics. Like I think probably like Amazon and stuff use them to help get packages to people.
they call it less than truckload.
Less than truckload. Interesting.
Less than truckload. So a niche part of trucking for sure.
For sure.
And boy, has this one been a leader. I think we need to start with its leadership role. So benchmark it to
I like it. Yeah.
get the
Yeah,
right
you,
Dow Jones.
is that Trump Media?
This is this is
Did
the
you-
Dow Jones Transports.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
thought
I
you
am.
clicked on the other one, but
Yeah, I'm sure. So this one resolved about a 5-year base in the summer of 2023 and has absolutely ripped since then. It's consolidated for about 6 months during this year, and now it's making new highs relative to its peer group. This is exactly what you want to see. This thing, I think, has a tremendous amount of upside from current levels. I think you want to be looking to buy on weakness, really. I think the bulls will step up here and make a stand at this 130 level. This 125 to 130 level, I think, is where you want to buy this one. Of course, you can put an initial line out there in the market and then add to your position on strength once it like reclaims a VWAP from this high. I mean, that's how I would trade something like this, but it's certainly a leader. And if you're missing transportation exposure in your portfolio, I don't think there's many vehicles that'll beat XPO.
pun intended.
Shout out Hanson for bringing that along.
Yeah.
It's a winner.
Well, hey, we got LNG in the chat from
Okay.
HCAD. Already long. He's looking for key levels.
So yeah, we were just talking about natural gas. I think this matters a lot for your LNG trade, and you're running into the shelf of former highs here. The market has rejected it several times. Will it reject it once again? I don't know, but I think that will provide a lot of information. So that is front and center.
Sure has tested it quite a few times.
Yeah, I think it's getting ready to break. LNG, let's just show this one long term first. So This one loves to do, it's kind of like Tesla. We talk about like it just has huge moon candles and then it does nothing for an extended period of time. LNG is very similar to that. So in the early 2000s, it had a massive 11,000, really 12,000% ripper. And then after the Great Financial Crisis, had about 4,500%. But this one can really trend well. There's few vehicles in this market that trend better than LNG when it happens. And that seems to be the case today as we have resolved an extended sideways period with new all-time highs. We are currently getting some counter trend action, which I think will lead it back towards this 192 level where we originally broke out. So I think that is front and center on this trade. If you are, did they say they were long already?
Yeah,
So no levels or anything, time frames,
looking for levels.
looking for
3 month,
levels.
3 month time frame.
So yeah, I think buyers could show up here at 200 and get a little bit of a bounce, but I think it has another wave lower in it towards this 192 level. It seems to be where it wants to go. But I do think this one is beginning a new prolonged uptrend. So this is a buyable dip in my opinion. Plus you have that beautiful prolonged rounded bottom in natural gas. This just adds to the conviction in this trade.
Yeah,
There's a lot to like here.
yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Let's take a look at Boeing. Um, Abraham here says Boeing still look terrible, fellas. What do you think?
It's a good question. This one has been a terrible disaster for some time.
For some time, indeed.
So it really started in early 2019. I'm not sure if that was when they started having these 747 accidents. Do you know the timeline on that?
Well, I mean, COVID was really just tough for the entire sector, and then
But
from
it started a year
yeah.
before COVID.
Right, but it was kind of just rolling over into COVID, and then ever since COVID, now it's been dealing with that too. So it's just been a mess. Yeah.
I think this is only a mean reversion trade. I don't think you want to be in this one for any extended period of time, but I think you could get a good tactical trade with it. You are reaching overbought levels, which has not been seen in a very long time. Last time Boeing got overbought was in December last year, before it rolled over and crashed another almost 50%. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened again. You want to keep a tight stop on this one, but man, the trade, I just don't know where you get in. Where would you get in here, Patrick? It's just such a mess.
It's tough. I don't hate it. Like on a relative basis, it doesn't look awful. And also, you do have the airlines working for the first time since they've stopped working in 2019. So it is kind of interesting. Sentiment's terrible on it. But I would want to see it break that 187 level there you got there. I mean, that's another former low too. So like that's kind of like even proving more that it's ready for a failed move. So but I mean, I would be in no hurry to get into this one. It's not like I'm licking my chops on this one.
For sure. And this is kind of interesting how it's running
But,
into
but I don't hate it. I mean,
VWAP.
he asked if it's still looking terrible. I gotta say, this is the least I've hated this chart in quite a while. So
Right. Terrible stocks can have nasty counter trend moves as well. And if that's your strategy, if you're looking to trade some type of mean reversion, I think this is prime for that. But it's not for me.
shall we move on?
Let's do it.
All right, let's take a look at Corsair.
What's the ticker there?
COUR. This one's from Mr. Zerby.
So this is a just over $1 billion software company, online learning. Okay. So interesting. This one is coming off of all-time lows. It made a new all-time low in June, and it tested that level again in late October.
Tried to reclaim those 2023 lows earlier this year, but couldn't get it done. That would have been a nice fail breakdown.
Right, yeah, like this is what you're talking about, is this
Yep.
shelf of former lows.
Exactly.
Former support becomes resistance, just like former resistance becomes support. And that's exactly what you saw here. I think the benefit of the doubt is with the bears, until the bulls can make a decisive reclaim of this $10 level. You've seen some signs that they're alive. Like, you had a pretty nice bullish momentum divergence going here. But it was down like, what was that? Looks like 50 out of 60 days or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you do have, if you subscribe to the double bottom pattern, that's kind of what I see here. So you have this bottom, you retested a really clear polarity level. You came down and retested that low, and now you want to see it break through that level. That would be a confirmed double bottom. But yeah, nothing to do until it closes above 10. If it does close above 10, I think the first target is this 1675 level. I think you'll find some sellers there, some overhead supply, some bag holders, whatever you want to call them. But I think you want to get out around there, and that could be a great trade. Like, that's $10 to 16. That's over 60%.
Yeah.
Nice chart. Who brought this one along?
This one comes from Mr. Zerby.
Mr.
Mark, I
Zerby
think, is the first name. Listen, we got a question about maps here, weed maps in the chat, but that one is a $200 million market cap. We try to keep it over $1 billion. So we'll skip that one. What's up, Trend Spider? Good morning. What are you guys looking at today? Let's see.
Shout out Trend Spider, one of the best Twitter accounts in the universe.
It's a go-to. It's a go-to.
Go-to
chart report. So somebody asked about TBT, which is the leveraged ultra short treasuries ETF.
Let's look at TLT.
Let's look at
the
TLT.
adults here. So yeah, this doesn't look good. You've had, so let's just read the chart left to right. You had COVID, you had a bunch of whipsawing going on there, and then in early 2021, you resolved that top. And then in late 2021, you reaffirmed that top was valid and completely dumped for the majority of 2022, 2023, and now you've just gotten some sideways action here. So the trend here is without a doubt lower. This is a counter trend move right here, right here. Now we're getting a move in the direction of the underlying trend. I think if you're looking to buy bonds here, this is your level, this April low. I think buyers could show up, and that happens to be where we are today. So could get a little bounce, but just understand that this is a frowny face, and I don't like to buy frowny faces.
So Sam, I think, we talk a lot about failed Head and Shoulders tops, right? If you zoom out a little bit more, the last 2 years, this thing tried to create a Head and Shoulders bottom, and it failed. So
Right.
we have a Head and Shoulders bottom that just failed. We had a bullish pattern that just failed, right? That's bearish.
I don't know of anything more bearish. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great point, Patrick. This is not a good situation for the bond market. But again, if bond yields are going higher because of economic growth, is that really a bad thing? I think stocks have proven that they can do just fine as long as they're growing. Like Mag 7 certainly didn't really care about this, so they're making more money when bond yields go up. So
I like it. I like it. Well, trade what's in front of you. Any favorite charts from today?
oh, what was the one we started with?
We started with AGX.
AGX. Yeah, that's an interesting chart. Yeah, I like that. This is my chart of the day
I like it.
with a 1991 base. I mean,
You know what? I might have
is
to
there a
go
bigger
down.
base in the market?
1991 base. I can't think of
it would
one
be
at the time,
hard
actually.
pressed to find a better base.
I mean, I could say Japan, but that one's old, right? That one, that's old news.
I want a single stock base, not,
Yeah, exactly.
not an
There you
index.
go. Sam, let's leave it here for today. I know we're on a tight schedule, but I like it. Join us again on Monday. If we didn't get to your tickers today, we'll be sure to get to them next time. Email us them at questions@stockmarketmedia.com, and we'll get to them Monday. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.